time to rip the Band-Aid off. This is the state of the kitchen tank. It has become a plant holding tank. There's some algae on the front glass, a lot of reflection because I left the light on, and even the mat on the bottom is really bothering me that it is not actually under the tank. This is my little killifish, Gray. She recently lost her man. She is a red Galaris, and I had about an hour, so I was just going to spruce it up a little bit. I don't do a whole lot of scaping in the summer, but then plan B. You know what? Everything's just going to come right out. I think that I'm going to, at this point, use the same rocks because I think I got them last year in the summer, and I do like them. It's a nice color. However, the black substrate I'm kind of done with in the kitchen, especially with the white countertop. I think I'm going to go with something lighter. I have two that I brought with. I have a Carob Sea, and then also I found a big bag of red flint brand sand, and I really do love it. She was not sure what was going on, but I promised her I was going to spruce up her home, kind of cheer her up a little bit, and give it a really good clean, which is always very satisfying. There is nothing like seeing a brand new or just newly clean tank. And the substrate I already like already. It gives it a completely different look. I was thinking of doing a scape substrate everything so that Gray would be more visible, because she is kind of she's like a very muted color. She's a female killifish, so she doesn't have a whole lot of color except very subtle color. And these rocks I really like. I would have preferred to have it just like this. However, the hardscape was just, it didn't take up enough room in the tank. Of course, these little pieces of driftwood I really like as well, except it had always bothered me that this one was going completely parallel to the front glass, which, you know, you want offside kind of flow. The bulbitis, there is no filter in here. Sometimes I can have bulbitis do quite well with a filterless tank because it does normally like flow. However, I did know that I needed more plants. So down to the 125 nano tank. This is our 125 gallon tank that we affectionately call the nano tank because it's filled with nano fish. And I got the okay from Mr. Primetime to remove basically all the plants from the front glass. We'll see a lot. These other plants, the crypts and the rest of the corkscrew valve, will go in a number of tanks in the fish room that are requiring definitely a lot of work. But it was fun to add some height with some plants. I definitely wanted some corkscrew valve and a lot of it in this tank. And it's always fun to see escape without water with floppy plants. This is an 8.5 gallon, so I did use 3 root tabs. Only plant that I intend on planting into the substrate is the corkscrew valve, and I really thought it was pretty much done. I added her to her new, freshly decorated home. I think she was pretty excited. And I figured, well, I'll take a look at it. I was I was watching Some Like It Hot in the kitchen here, and look at that. So is she. But if you have to go somewhere and you only have an hour, I don't recommend necessarily scaping a tank. But here it is so far. And yes, I know there is a big gap in the middle. I knew that because I really couldn't get any corkscrew valve in the back center, but I knew I wanted to add maybe an Anubias because it is my favorite plant. I said I haven't had Anubias in here in a while. I did like the tree. Oh my gosh. On the side, I've always appreciated the side of the tank. I don't know what it is with that view. I almost turned the tank to see that view actually instead of the front. I could not decide what plants to add. I will sometimes add plants that I know that I won't like, just to see if I like the structure, the color, the texture. I have hornwort blob stuck in the back just to see if I like something back there and it was accessible. I had a Anubias that kind of liked, kind of didn't. Then I decided to move all that out and just kind of move the corkscrew valve throughout the back left corner. I kind of messed around with my bulbitis here, but I do like the trio of those rocks, the little twigs, the little pieces of driftwood, and the bulbitis. I liked it from the old tank, so I decided to keep it in the new tank. Although I generally like to do that sometimes, keep a little part of a scape, an old scape that I like, to a new scape. Sometimes that gives me like a little kind of, I don't know, like a barrier to like focus here, otherwise I can't make a decision. And then I took out one Anubias and only left one instead of having two Anubias. I kind of like it from this angle. That's kind of interesting, but still not loving it. So I figured I need more plants, more different, better plants. So off to the PetSmart I went, and I got 3 more bulbitis. Now the question is, which one, they were all the same price and it was buy 2 get the third half off. Which one would you have gotten? A single larger one or a bunch of smaller ones? I didn't wind up using the little ones. That actually, most of those went into another tank. So I actually I wound up trading the little Anubiases, the new ones, with my little tiny 1 gallon tank, and I stole the larger bulbitis that was getting a little tall. And then that's my little unexpected item, a very small little couple of sprigs of baby bulbitis in the center. That's me. That's a little fairy that I have in my little garden next to it, and I consider that to be me if I were a little fairy, so I can hang out with Gray all day. When planting Val, it's important to keep in mind not to bury it too deep into the substrate. It will not like that and not survive. So just to where the roots are in the substrate. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this kind of, real life scaping adventure in the kitchen, and I'll see you next week.